Welcome to Goglow Hub tutorials, and today we'll be talking about the CSS margins. Margins are used to create space around elements outside of the defined borders. So this is your border, okay? This is your border, your top border, your right border, your bottom border. Margin is used to create spaces outside of the border. So you can create space to the outside of the top border, to the outside of the right border, to the outside of the bottom border, and to the outside of the left border. So let's try this. Okay, so this is our element. We'll have space around this element. By default, this element is a block element. It's meant to occupy the entire width of this body element. It's meant to occupy the entire width. However, because we gave it a margin of 70 px, it now gave it space around the border of the element. Okay. Now this is shorthand for margin. We're going to see other ways of writing margin. This is shorthand for margin. When you just call margin just as margin, okay, it simply means the four sides. The margin of the four sides will obey this command. So margin top, right, bottom, and left will obey this command. They will all have 70 px. Let's try to reduce it to 10 and see what's going to happen. Can you see that our margin has reduced? Let's try to increase it to 100. So can you see that our margin has increased to 100? Okay. CSS margin properties are used to create space around elements outside of any defined borders. With CSS, you have full control over the margin. There are properties for setting the margin for each side of the elements, like the top, right, bottom, and left. So these are the properties: margin top property, margin right property, margin bottom property can set for specific sides. And what are the values that can be assigned to margin? Auto, we have the auto value where the browser calculates the margin. We have the length value where the browser can use the px, pt, cm units. We have the percentage value that specifies margin in the percent of the width of the containing element. We have inherit, where the margin should be inherited from the parent element. So let's see how to set different margins for different sides of our margins. So you can set a margin top to have 100 px, margin bottom 100 px, just like that. You can try it yourself and see. So you can also adjust any of these values to see different effects. So I can remove the margin left. I can give margin left 0 px. So can you see that it occupies the entire left margin? Okay. So it means no space to the left. That's what that 0 px means. We have the margin shorthand property, just like I said. To shorten the code, it is possible to specify all the margin properties in one property. The margin property is a shorthand property for the following individual margin properties: the margin top, margin right, margin bottom, and margin left, all collapse into just margin. So when you want to command the four sides using one property, just use the margin. And when you're using margin with four values, 25 px, 50 px, 70 px, 100 px, guys, it's just space that's separating them. 25 px space, 50 px space, 75 px space, 100 px. The first value is for your top. It goes clockwise. It goes clockwise direction. First value is for your top. Second value is for your right. Third value is for your bottom, and the last value is for your left margin. It goes clockwise. Use the margin shorthand property with four values. So if I want to affect this left side, remember that top, right, bottom, left. Left is the last guy. So when I give left value of 0 px, it just pushes to the left, and then I can increase the value of my right to 100. I can increase it to 200. Let me see. Good. So this is what happens. Okay. When your margin property has three values, the first value is for your top, second value is for your right and left, while your last value is for your bottom. So in this example, the first value is for our top, second value is for our right and left, last value is for our bottom. So I can increase the margin to the top. I can say 100 px. Okay, so it increases the space to the top. All right. So the next thing we have is when we have two values. When we have two values, the first value is for top and bottom, while the second value is for left and right. When a margin property has two values, the first value is for top and bottom, second value is for left and right. When it has one value, it means that value is for the four sides. Okay. So margin auto is used for centering our margin. When you want to center your margin, but horizontal centering, so that there will be equal space to the left and to the right. We are not bothered about top and bottom. We are only bothered about left and right. Okay. So to achieve that, you just say margin auto. So you see, margin auto, we have our elements to the center. All right. We have inherit. With inherit, your element can inherit the value of its parent. So this is very simple. This guy with the border is your div. See, your div has a border, red color. Your p.ex1, that's the product element with class name of ex1, has a margin left also. Your div has a margin left of 100 px. Why this element has a margin left of inherit, which means if this guy is the parent of which div is the parent, p with class of ex1 is the child is inheriting the value of the parent. The parent has margin left of 100, and you set margin left of inherit for the child, which means this inherit to inherit this 100 px. However, if you don't want this inherit to inherit 100px, you can choose what you want. I can reduce it. You see that my margin left for my p element will reduce. You see that this guy, which is my paragraph element, will move closer to this place. So when I run, you see that it moves closer. If I increase it to, let's say, 200px, you see it will move further away. Okay, and I can bring this guy to 10. You see, it doesn't affect it anymore. But however, if I change this guy to inherit again, it will inherit that 10. It's going to inherit this 10. So it will be 10px for the div and then 10px for the paragraph element that is the child of the div element. So I'll put back my 10px and I'll run, and boom, this is what we have. All right, so we continue with our tutorial, and you see, if you want more to know about margin properties, you can click on any of these links to see more. Let's talk about the padding. Padding and margin are similar. The only difference is that padding is used to create space around an element's content inside of the defined border. Padding is used to create space inside the border, from the border, this time around not outside, but this time around from the border inside, from the left border inside, from the bottom border inside, from the right border inside. That is your padding for you. Okay. So CSS padding properties are used to generate space on elements content inside of any defined borders. So let's try this example and see what we're gonna have. So I can change this to 10. You see, this padding is affecting both left, top, bottom, and right, but inside the border. This is a shorthand for padding. It's affecting all sides, but inside the border. I can increase this thing to 500. Okay. I can increase this to 500, and I run. Can you see how big the padding is now? That's massive. So let me change it to 150. It's too big. 150. So when you want to create space, but inside an element, okay, you can use your padding. Okay, so let's continue. All right. So have padding top, right, bottom, left, just the same way, and they use the same length, percentage, and inherit. Okay, you can assign values to each of them: padding top, padding bottom, padding left, padding right. You can also use the shorthand property. When you say padding with 4 values, it follows the clockwise direction: top, right, bottom, left, clockwise direction. When you have 3 values, the first value is for your top, second value is for your right and left, third value is for your bottom. When it has 2 values, first value is for your top and bottom, second value is for your right and left. And when it has 1 value, that value is for all sides. Okay, so that's it for padding. Difference is one is space within the border, the other one is space outside the border. So let us work on the example we gave the last time. So let's say I have a paragraph element here. Okay. So I have a paragraph element with a div element. My paragraph element, because I have another paragraph element here, I'm going to give this paragraph element a class name. So I'm going to give this element a class name of A. I'm going to give this element a class name. Remember, your class name can be anything. I'm the one just deciding based on what we had as example, what I usually use as my example. I want to use A and B, elements A and elements B. So, okay. So I have a class name A and I have a class name B. My A is my paragraph, which is a child of B, which is a div. All right, so I'm going to change this to one word, home. Okay, and I'm going to run. Good. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to say dot B, which is my div still. Okay, my div is B, so dot B still obeys this command. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to say dot A. So my dot A, I'm going to write some code. So I'm going to give it a background color. Oh, so sorry. Background color. I'm going to give it a yellow background color. Okay, good. I'm going to give I don't need this border anymore. I just have to give it a background color. I'm going to give it orange. I hope the contrasts. Okay, so I'm going to give a width of. I'm going to give my anchor my element a width of 200 px. Okay, so that we can see the home color. Okay, and I think maybe let me just give this guy a black background, black, so that will be kind of a contrast. So I'm going to give, it's already margin auto, that's why it's centered. So I'm also going to give this guy a margin auto to center it horizontally in its elements. Margin, this is the yellow guy. I want to center it using margin auto. So you're going to see what's going to happen. And you see I've centered this guy. Okay. And I'm going to give it a text align to center the text inside it. Line. So please, there was no need going through HTML heads style. You already know all those. You should be able to recreate this on your own. Okay. And there's no need going through that. I'm going straight to how to get this fixed. Okay. And so text align. I say center. Okay. So I have my text aligned to the center. And then I give my div element a height. I give it a height of 400 px. Okay, 400 seems to be so much. I'm going to give it a height of 350. Let's see. Okay, good. So I'm going to also increase this to 350, the width. Okay, I'm going to add a little more to the width. I'm going to make it 400 just to make it, yeah, more like a square. And then I'm going to decrease this to something like 100 px as my width. Good. And I'm going to give this guy a height of let's say 90 px. Okay, good. So I could just make it 80. Okay, 80 px. Good. So the question was, how do I bring my yellow guy to the center? How do I bring this yellow guy to the center? What should I affect in either the yellow guy or this black guy to bring it to the center? The yellow guy is my paragraph element. This paragraph element is A class, has a class of A, is my yellow guy. While my div that has a class of B is my black guy. And here I use these settings to bring them to look like a box. But how do I now bring the yellow guy to the center? All I need to do is to add a padding to my B. Since padding is from the border inside, B is my black. If I add space from the border, top border inside, it will push A to the center. So I'm simply going to add a padding top to my B. I'm going to give this padding top 150 px. I'm going to run. So can you see that my element has come to the center? Okay, my element has come to the center. I can actually reduce my height just to make it a little more uniform. Yeah, just to make it a little more uniform. And I can also increase my width, the width of the black box. Just want to give a perfect square. Okay, so I could make this 55 as my padding top, 155. So let's see. You see? So with this, I have been able to kind of so I'm just adjusting based on what I'm seeing. Okay, so with this I can say yes, I've been able to bring this guy to the center. Okay, good. So another way you can do this is to affect the margin top of A. The margin, which is the border of this A outside, it also push it down. Okay, so let me cut this guy, Ctrl X, come here and paste and say margin top. Oh, margin top of A just works outside of A. So the padding is the ideal thing to use. So the padding top of B is the ideal thing to use to push A down. Why? Because it affects the content. Padding is a space inside the border. Padding is a space inside the border that affects the content of the element. Remember that your entire P element is the content of div. This entire paragraph element that is yellow is the content of div. So when you add a padding, it puts a space around the content. But here we put the space at the top. We just pushed it down. We've already horizontally centered it. With this, we are now able to vertically center it. I hope you're following. With this, we are now able to vertically center it by adding a padding top. You just push it down. But with margin auto, we're already centering this. The margin auto was given to this yellow guy here, and then you now use your padding top to bring it down. So this is where we end our tutorial for today. The next tutorial I'll be going into is colors. Okay, after colors, we'll be going over to borders. Okay, so see you guys in our next tutorial. Thank you.